Hey everybody, this is Crispy990 here, and this is a review of my new Balisong, and sort of a compare and contrast between a cheap, decent Balisong and a cheap, crappy Balisong. In the video that I had with this, my new Voyager and my FGX Cat Tanto, I made that video pretty much just to comment on gun shows and how great they are for buying knives. I have a lot of little cheap Balisongs, and as well as a few really nice ones. I saw, I think, one or two Benchmade Balisongs that were very nice. But they have a lot of cheap knives like this, and a few cheap automatics. Like I saw this there. I didn't get it at the gun show, but I saw this one there and picked it up at a sort of another cheap store around where I live. It's just a cheap automatic out the front. But it's pretty neat, you know, just a little out the front automatic. The blade is only, I don't know, 2 inches long maybe, but it's also a lighter. It's also a butane lighter, which is kind of neat. But you know, gun shows have a lot of stuff like that. And cheap Balisongs, cheap automatics, as well as very, very nice automatics and Balisongs. I saw a Microtech, or two Microtechs, and some MODs as far as automatics that were very, very nice. But anyway, sort of wanted to make this video just to show you what to look for in a cheap Balisong and what you don't want in a cheap Balisong. Just to start off, the main thing you want in a cheap Balisong is rivets, not screws. As you can see, the rivets here in the hinges are not adjustable, but as I have in this Balisong, which is the crappy cheap Balisong I have, they are Torx bit screws, and they slide out every time I flip. I actually had the handle fly off when I was flipping once, and was very, very lucky that I didn't get myself very, very badly cut, just because the handle flipped right off. Also, you want to get a sort of a feel for the weight, because this has holes in it. Is very thoroughly milled. It has a decent weight to it. It's not heavy, it's not too light, and it's just pretty comfortable weight, as opposed to this one, which is just solid, I guess maybe stainless steel liners with fake wooden handles, and it's just way too heavy. And as a beginner, you don't want a heavy Balisong, because if you do simple tricks like, I believe this is called a basic horizontal, I'm just opening and closing. It's the first trick I learned, but if you do it wrong, the blade is going to come down on your finger with the weight of the handle behind it. So just the lighter Balisong you can get when you're starting out, the better off you'll be. And generally, you always want a well weighted Balisong, not too heavy, not too light. But if you have a choice between a Balisong that's too light or too heavy, go with the one that's too light, just because you have it has less inertia behind it when you're flipping if you hurt yourself. Also, one of the main other points is that this has sandwich construction, so you can see there's just two pieces on the handles, and have a very short life expectancy. They're not very durable, and they can slip apart very, very easily. The previous owner of this Balisong, for them, the handles actually separated, and the pin that holds in the latch fell out, and so this doesn't have any latch on it, as you can see. And in fact, I even had to put some duct tape on the bottom of the handles so the handles would stay in one piece, and that's not good. And you're basically relying on one or two pins inside the handle on the bottom here to keep your handles together. Now with this, it's the same as a Benchmade, where the handles are just one piece. It has three sides to it, front, back, and then in the closed position it has a flat side, so you can't see the blade. Now obviously in an open position it is hollow, because that's how the blade fits in there. But this way you don't have to worry about the handle separating or falling apart or anything like that. And let's see, tang pins. Tang pins are very important. Just about every Balisong has one tang pin. Usually it's for the open position, and as you can see, it sort of sits in between the handles. And with this Balisong, it sort of serves as a, I believe the right term for it is a fulcrum, where you sort of pinch the bottom of the handles together, and that's how you get the latch in place. And so it has just a little bit of tension on the handles, enough to keep the latch in place. And when you squeeze the handles, the latch falls out. When I originally bought this, the latch was in great shape. The only real problem with it was that it's on the wrong side. If you don't know much about Balisongs, you should know that the latch goes on the bite handle, which is the handle on the edge where the knife edge is. It's not supposed to be on the safe handle back here where the back of the knife is. With this, it really doesn't matter anymore since I've completed turning this into a trainer. When I got it, it was very, very dull, but I just took a coarse whetstone and finished grinding down the point, and now I couldn't hurt myself with this thing if I wanted to. So I can, do it either way. And if I did this with a sharp knife, I'd have about 3 or 4 large cuts in my finger right now. But now that I've ground it down, it really doesn't matter. But on a regular Balisong, the latch needs to be on the bite handle. Let's see. And it has started to loosen up over time. It won't stay in a closed position really. And it sort of gets in the way. It's a little irritating, but like the hinges, it is on a rivet, and isn't adjustable, unfortunately. But it's not that big of a deal. Let's see, what else? Despite all the problems with this, it does have 2 tang pins, top and bottom, open and closed on front and back. And that way the handles don't slam together either in the open or closed position, which is nice. You want a little bit of space. It really doesn't matter with this style with the sandwich handles, but you do want the handles to stay a little bit apart so it doesn't keep hitting your blade and causing just a slight bit of impact trauma on your blade every time you open and close it. But still, for a 5, I can't remember if I paid 5 or 10 for it, but for a cheap Balisong, it's fine. Does me well enough. I think I'm going to get a Bear & Son cutlery Balisong, just to have like a mid-range Balisong, but I really don't want to shell out the cash for a Benchmade or something like that if I'm never really going to use it, and I'm not going to carry it. So I really don't need something that extravagant. But anyway, just a quick recap. On a cheap Balisong, you want rivets instead of screws on the main hinges, because the screws will slip out. You want drilled holes in your handle. That way it saves weight and isn't too heavy. You want a latch on the right side, unlike this. You want a latch on the bite handle. You want a latch that locks open and closed. I don't think I showed you that. But it does lock open, and that way you can actually use it as a knife. You want a latch that stays in place, but in a cheap Balisong that's kind of hard to find. Preferably 2 tang pins, but 1 works fine. And you want handles with 3 sides to them. Absolutely. And yeah, I really can't think of much more than that. But anyway, if you have any comments or questions, you know what to do. Just put them down there. And once again, I'm Crispy990. Thanks for watching. Peace.